What's up, y'all? It's De'Viar,
What's up, y'all? It's Jasmine.
and welcome back to another episode of Stories of the Streets.
As always, Stories of the Streets is sponsored by Change Waco, the New Black Collective, Black Scent, and Rogue Media Network.
So this week this is me and Jazz, y'all's favorite host, and we're kind of just having a smaller conversation about political leaders and a little bit of manipulation and just like games they play, during these campaign seasons. Specifically, what got me wanting to talk about this was this recent video that came out called 37 Seconds. And it's by this man that's running for it's a seat in Louisiana. Let me get my facts straight real quick before Gary Chambers wants to be U.S. Senate representative for Louisiana. And he put out this video called 37 Seconds, and it's him in like this real clean, blue suit, sitting in some grass somewhere, and he's smoking like a cigar or a backwood or a blunt or something like that. And the point of the video is, him just calling out every 37 seconds someone is arrested, or whatever, for smoking weed. And I guess it's kind of a call to action to legalize it, but it's also a, hey, go vote for me. I'm smoking like y'all. So it was a little weird video. It's kind of funny, but it was kind of really we've gotten a lot of stuff recently that just speaks to us as people. Like, it's just really funny that video came out, and I'm like, that's funny. Like, political leaders trying to get votes by smoking. Yeah, I was like, this is funny.
I get his message, but I guess my thing is like, first of all, I think that the presentation can be misguiding. It can take away what he's trying to convey. Like, what he's saying is very important.
Yeah.
So basically, he's talking about the disproportionate amount of minority people that, are arrested for marijuana as comparison to their white counterparts, which, okay, that's a good point. But he's just like, the video is funny because he was like,
just him
puff,
smoking.
puff, I'm not even passing. And he's like sitting in this random field in a suit, just smoking. And I think I don't even think it's just political leaders. I think it's just leaders in general. I don't know if you saw that Michael Todd situation, the pastor from Oklahoma that like spit on the guy's face. And it's like, they do things because they have the power, air quotes, to do things, and then we're missing the message. Because it's great that you wanted to give a positive message, but nobody told you to do that. And it's like, I'm trying to remain politically correct because we're on the podcast, but like, as far as the pastor situation, and that it really reminded me of that, because he, like, why?
Yeah.
He literally, it was gross. And he spit in his hand, and his message, like, this guy, it was a deep message. It said, sometimes following God, following the vision God gives you gets nasty. We get it. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it was unnecessary.
Yeah. That's why he spit in it. I guess that's the point, that you didn't. Yeah.
I just felt like there was so many other ways. The same with this guy, that you could have executed your point, but you chose.
Especially
what you chose.
Right now with everything that's going on. Like,
and I think this was last Sunday, and I was like, no.
We're at an
no
all-time
concern
high
for infectious diseases at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm glad. At least he wasn't puff passing and passing his saliva to somebody else. But it's just like, I feel like a lot of times people go overboard with trying to convey the message that they want to give or send to people, and it's like, you don't have to do all of that. Yeah, because it's too much.
The visuals and the overall message did definitely have a real disconnect, and I really didn't realize it until after it blew up. More people started seeing it and putting their perspectives out there and stuff like that, and pointing things out. And I really watched it, and I was just like, yeah, like, He's just narrating it, and they got subtitles down at the bottom about the point of it.
He's just puffing.
But yeah, he's just puffing. I'm just like this, and then it really got in perspective for me when my friend sent it to me and was like, "This is different. Look at this," and I was like, "Yeah, but that's the point of it." Like he's bleeding into that rap culture and everything that's just real popular right now to get people to pay attention to him. That's the point of it. Yeah, to almost drown out what he's saying subconsciously, to not really pay attention to what they want. He wants people to focus on him and vote for him. He wants you to remember his name, not really just what he's saying. And that pastor situation blows my mind. I didn't know about that.
It's gross.
Yeah,
and people were defending him. Y'all are so quick to tear, and they're gonna get mad at us for this episode. Y'all are so quick to tear other black people down, but it's like my whole thing is there are ways that you do things, and it's not tearing somebody down for saying the action that you're committing is not okay.
Yeah.
And you could have went about it a different way. And it's like I was very appalled at everybody that was defending him. We're so quick to cancel and such and blah. And I'm like, but that's disgusting.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what color he was. It's nasty. And it was the fact that he had to volunteer for me, because I was just like, so another grown man stood there and let you wipe spit on his face.
Yeah.
And it's
and
like,
sat back down his seat.
and I'm just like, I get the message and I understand what you're saying, but your visual. And I'm a person, like, I go to church. It's like, I don't need you with all these props and these presentations in order to get what you're saying if your message is thorough and if your message actually has meaning. Same thing with him. I don't need the visual of you puff passing to understand that, minority people are targeted for drugs more than white people are. Yeah. And, I guess my thing is like, why so much drama? Why so much drama? And it's like good. It's good that y'all have these messages, which are important messages, but you take away from the importance of the message because what you're doing is distracting.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is different. This is cool. And it's like, no, because, he's doing this, he's saying this, but how do you know when he gets in this position that he's not going to be the one making sure you get the maximum amount of time?
Yeah. So
it's just, I don't know, politics make me itch.
I think what also didn't play well about the video is the fact that he was able to do it. Like there's people that every day they can't just go somewhere and sit in the field and spark up. Somebody gonna call the police. The police might just see them doing it, just whatever. And it kind of really enforces that negative idea that people, who are in politics have this power, have this exception to the rules.
Still on the ballot.
They can just do it. Like it's like you just got to do whatever you want to. And talking about the pastor reminded me of Joel Osteen down in Houston. All the best that he had going on. Yeah. Did you hear about the
recent plumber thing?
Yeah.
It's always something, and that's why I say these people do what they want to do, and they're always forgiving. Oh, but it's the pastor. Oh, well, he, they're in our community, they're leading, but they're never held accountable for the things that they do. And I think that's the larger issue, is people always want to forget that at the end of the day, they're still people, they're still human, and they still do things that are not okay. Oh, I don't know what to say about Joel. It's always something. I'm just like, again.
Yeah.
With kind of like when things happen with him, I'm like,
especially because he down there in Houston, right?
Yeah, what made you do that, sir?
Well, I remember
Joel?
when they were mad because he wouldn't open the churches when everything was flooding down there. And I was like, even if you really didn't want to, like you should be smart enough to understand your position and way the world sees you. Like, yeah, go ahead and open the church, even if you don't want to. If you don't, it's gonna stir up some mess. I don't understand why.
I don't think he does. Not
a lot of them don't care.
He doesn't care.
A lot of them, they have the money to not care.
What?
It's flooding over there? I didn't know it.
Not flooding in my
neighborhood. Yeah, over here.
I think it's just crazy because I just left our planning meeting for the New Black Collective, and we were just talking about how people in positions of power manipulate the system so much, and no matter what they do, they still can climb to the top. Because we were talking about DUNS numbers, and some of the people didn't know what a DUNS number was, and we were talking about establishing like business credit and things like that. And I was like, this is how rich people stay rich, because they don't they don't insert their personal lives.
Yeah.
And so they started talking about Donald Trump and all of the businesses that he's opened. They're like, oh, that's how he. I'm like, yeah, there's ways and loopholes, and it's like these people do these things. They're not necessarily right, but because they're not being held accountable, because they're not being penalized for it, they continue to do things that abuse not even just power, but the system that is supposed to work for all Americans. And I think that's one of the larger issues. Same thing with Joel Osteen. Like, not only are you supposed to be a man of faith, but we know that you are a man of power with money.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily do the right things from what we as the public see on the outside looking in. You don't always do the right thing, or do everything that you could to help others. And I think they, like I said, they just take away
so much.
They do. Even that pastor in Oklahoma, Mike Todd, like, he just gave away, I don't know if it was like $8 million, some millions of dollars to like nonprofits and different things. And then that outreach work was overshadowed by this one incident.
Yeah.
And it's like, now people are looking at you sideways, like, or what you know, the things that you did then, were they genuine? Or, and so it's just, it's a lot. And like you said, people forget who they are, and that people are watching them.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing something good, that one thing that's kind of like, you a little fishy, it overshadows everything good that you have done, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which could be the same for our organizations as well.
Yeah. All it takes is one mistake to blow up big enough, and it could discredit almost everything that you've done. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes people, some people
like Donald needs to be exposed.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who do a lot of sick, messed up things, and when karma catches up to them, it's like, I can't feel bad for you. But I think what you just said was one thing you just said is like the people who got these positions don't do what we feel like they need to, and that's one of the biggest things that pisses me off about political leaders, and also celebrities, like people who just got this crazy amount of money for no reason, that seemingly has it for no reason, that just does whatever whenever they want to. I'm just like, y'all could turn around and help, the rest of us a little bit more. Like, there's enough for y'all, and there's definitely enough of us like to seriously get help. And I slowly think we're starting to get there, to where people are starting to get it. Like, hey, we really actually pay attention to the people who are in charge, because these people really affect our lives on a daily basis. But at the same time, I think, like, it doesn't matter who we put in office until we get everything at a foundational level fixed. We just gonna keep dealing with the same mess, because people get into positions of power and have these families and pass their wealth down and pass their teachings down. And this is how I did it, and I already got this set up for you. Your name is already attached to these things.
And I was gonna say, a lot of the problem is that although these people that are, enforcing, systemic racism and things like that, although they're starting to slowly pass away and like filter out, they still have children, they still have grandchildren. And so it's like some of those kids and grandkids don't, have those same sets of beliefs, but a lot of them do. And so it's like, how can you expect someone that's just like us, how can you expect someone that was raised a certain way to understand the lives and ways of other people if they've never been in those shoes? And I think that's one reality that was hard for me to come to grips with. It's like they don't understand because they never had to live this life, but also a lot of them don't want to understand.
That's the part that pisses me off. Like, it's
they
like,
don't want to understand.
I understand not experiencing it, because the same way for us, there's things that we didn't experience that other people experienced.
Never been rich and white.
It's like,
no clue.
there's stuff that now I still, somebody, oh, you never been here, or you've never done that. I'm like, no, like, I've never heard of that. This is the first time. But it's just I'm willing to learn. Like, put me on, teach me. Let me try it. Let me hear about it. Let me figure out what it is, and I'll decide for myself if I like it or not. There's people on the other side of the tracks that just get off at making fun of it or acting like it's a fad and stuff like that. Like, and it's really just taking, abusing it, not really just accepting it and learning about it. And that's the mind blowing part to me. Is like, how do you not want to? How do you idolize it so much, but you don't really want to appreciate it for what it really is, and just really learns the in and out of it? It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. I always wonder. I always wonder how they perceive people who are not as fortunate as they are, because I know, like, for regular people like us, when we see someone homeless, there's a sense of empathy that we feel because we could be them. Literally, like we could be them, and it's not impossible, and we're not invincible.
Yeah.
But I always wonder, like, people who are rich, do they just think nothing can happen to them, or how do they go about life? And then when it comes to race, I know people are always like, I'm an ally or blah blah blah, and I'm like, but you still could never understand.
Yeah.
I get it.
You don't.
No.
Yeah.
And you're not trying to understand. And I think the thing is, when they say I get it, it's like, if we're telling you you don't get it.
Yeah.
You don't
get it. Yeah.
We can relate on some things, but there are some things that you would never ever know.
No.
And that's just the reality of it all. And like I said, these kids are growing up with these ideas, and like you said, the money's already passed down, the position is already passed down. There's no chance for other people sometimes because they've kept these positions and this money within the family for so long. It's kind of like,
it's a family tradition at this point. Yeah. We have your son, and that's gonna be the next senator.
I feel kind of sad for him, because it's like you don't even have your own. You don't even get to live out your own destiny, because everything that you do in your life is already pre-planned for you. And I'm like, dang, sucks for you.
Yeah.
So it makes me think, like, are we really the ones who are bad off, or are we the fortunate ones because we get to decide kind of how our lives look? Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, like, there's things on both sides that are sad, but I will say I feel like there is some progression. I won't say that there's a lot, because that would be lying.
Yeah.
But I do feel like there is some progression in politics in general, because you're starting to see a shift from all white males to not only minority people, but women being allowed in those spaces, which we had never seen. Yeah. And I, to be honest, even growing up as a kid, would have never imagined seeing. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. I think our great-grandparents would be like, what?
Yeah,
they let a black woman in there. Yeah. So it's cool to see, but it's also still like, yeah, that's cool, but is this a one and done? Yeah. And I hate feeling like that, because even with Obama, I was like, is he gonna be the only black president ever?
Are you ever gonna get another one?
Yeah, so I think about those things, and I try to see things from all sides, because I'm just like, yeah, they don't understand. Then I'm like, some of them don't even try to understand, because they try to tell us our experience, and I think that's the problem. You try to tell us our experiences when we're telling it. No. Yeah. You don't know the.
Don't sit there and try to invalidate the way I feel. Like, you don't get it. Like, you
don't know the capacity and the depth of all of this stuff. So.
And I feel like speaking on race, and speaking on black people in general, we'll just say minorities. Minorities are given the rep of being less fortunate so often that even when people on the other side of the tracks, white or minority, because we do have some people that have been fortunate their whole lives who are minorities, and they think a little bit more privileged themselves because they've been privileged. But when they even taste an inch of, if they even get a taste test of struggle, I get it. I've been there before. I've almost had my car repossessed, and I've almost had this and that. And it's like, why I got to be that? Like, why? Like, why? That's why. And maybe I'm not talking about that. Maybe that's maybe you're not. Maybe there's other stuff you just don't get. Like, you don't know what it's like to go inside a place and get followed, or go somewhere and be loud, but get the police called on you, but other people have been there and been louder, and they're fine the entire time. Maybe even got more people to join in. Like, this issues, like, this weird stuff that's been said from the jump. Like, one of my little favorite, I guess, like, psychoanalysis. I don't even know if that's like a good description of it, but somebody was like, why do black people like disperse a lot when we link up and run, when we laugh a lot together, and then people kind of separate. And the person was like, what if that's like a thing that we just kind of like subconsciously pass down from like slavery, like of being together and then like maybe getting loud and then separating because we're,
I never thought about that.
Yeah, we're afraid that, the master's coming back, so that, all the slaves will just, run and disperse and like hide and just, kind of be quiet because they're
really
allowed
sad.
Yeah, I saw it and I was just like, can somebody study this? Like, I was like,
that's really sad. And I really, like, That's a good point though, because I've always felt like I don't know, and it upsets me. I feel like black laughter bothers people.
Yeah.
It's as if we can't
do it. Like
be
it's
happy
something wrong.
or have a moment of laughter.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of times in restaurants I get pissed off because there'll be a table full of white women cackling and hee ha ha and nothing, no looks.
Yeah.
But if a black family or a black group of people do that, everybody's looking at them crazy. Waiters, waitresses, we got a complaint. Can you guys please keep it down?
Let
you
me
know, and it's very upsetting because I'm just like, why? Like, why does that subconsciously bother you?
Yeah.
Like, it's really crazy because you see it happen so often and you never think anything of it. But it's like, why can't we sit and laugh together without there being an issue? Because just like you get tickled, we get tickled too. Like, you know, and it's so crazy because I never ever thought about that. But that may possibly be the reason why we do that. Because imagine being in the field laughing and you hear something rustling in the whip.
Yeah.
Thrashing in the air, like
you gonna take
that's
off.
nuts.
Yeah,
you can't hit us all at once.
No,
and it's like you can make light of it because we're not there, but that's terrifying that you can't laugh because you're so scared to be happy that you're gonna lose your life.
Yeah.
Like that's nuts. That's really sad.
No, yeah.
What in the world? I'm like, dang, I never thought about that.
No, never thought about it. It was sad, but it also kind of was a wake up call for me. I was like,
It made sense.
I never thought about it. Yeah, I was like, it really does make sense. I could, if people can study this, and if data came out and we're like, yeah, that's 100% the reason why some people do that, while some black people do that, I'd be like, I believe it. I completely believe it. Like, it makes sense.
And even if we're not running or like separating, like we're falling different ways.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah. There's a little bit of separation. Yeah. It's so instinct. Like it's.
But
like,
it's just like that's so mind blowing because we do have those habits.
Yeah.
And it's like, dang, like really.
I think I heard of another one too. I just can't think of it right now. There's a bunch of cool little facts I found out about. Well, not really cool, but just like. Thing that's mind blowing. The lengths that we went to kind of survive. Like the first time I found out that slaves used to like braid maps into each other's hair and stuff like that to try
to eat rice or seeds.
See, I didn't know about that. I didn't know. I remember hearing about people putting rice, but I never knew they used to do it to try to have like food while they were
they did.
On the move.
That's real. It's crazy because everything was a means of survival.
Yeah.
And I would have been we would have got caught because I don't know how to read no braids.
I tell people all the time, so we might not be perfect right now. Like everything might not be 100% great, but I'm glad we're not hunter gatherer area time. But I would have never made it. I wouldn't.
I'm scared of animals.
I wouldn't have made it.
You want me to do what?
Imagine hopping on your horse and like going through a trail to get somewhere. Like,
Harriet, it is dark, man.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have known what to do. It's just so mind blowing. Like the fact that they were able to come up with these things in order to make it.
Yeah.
Like them following the stars. Hey, listen, they all look the same to me.
Yeah.
But that's amazing to me because for them to not have been afforded the opportunity to education and different things like that, I really think that that's remarkable for them to be able to come up with their own form of communication. That they got away.
We used to, I think, sing, have different codes through song and stuff like that. Like that's mind blowing.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my God. And then I think a lot, like, how did they even come up with, I guess, survival of the fittest, you figure it out when you want to make it.
Yeah.
But I always think about those things, like, how did they know to do these things? Like, how did you know that braiding hair and putting seeds in it would make you food later on?
Yeah.
Or how did you know where you were going with these stars?
Yeah.
Follow the drinking guard.
How are you able to remember the route to braid in somebody's hair? To braid into somebody's hair. Like, how did you? I couldn't have did it.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, y'all doing a lot.
Yeah.
I would.
They'd be disappointed now. They'd be probably disappointed now.
Y'all don't know nothing.
Yeah.
You sure right.
Yeah.
That's so crazy though. And I really think that, just reflecting on the things that they had to endure, that it really shows how they were more in tune, not just with themselves, but with each other and with their spirituality and things like that, because it's no way.
Yeah.
Absolutely no way that they just
like that
could, right.
Yeah.
Because there's no sense of unity really outside of certain topics, which we still aren't all unified on those fronts. Mm-hmm. And not even just unity on topics, but just unity within our own families and things like that, like the family structure and things like that. It's just we wouldn't make it today.
No, that during that time wouldn't have. I'm trying to think. Lost my train of thought. I think I was thinking about hair and stuff like that, and just I don't know. It made me think about that movie. There's a horror movie that's about slavery called Antebellum.
That movie is interesting.
Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can't finish it. I need to finish it.
I didn't know what was happening at first.
Okay, yeah, that's like
I had to really pay attention to that movie because I was just like, is she here or is she there?
Yeah, I really didn't know where to shoot. Like the previews.
Well, I gathered that she was having a dream.
Okay.
Because I was like, this is like, because at first I thought she was like teleporting.
Yeah.
And I was like, how you a slave and a modern lady? I didn't know what was happening at first, but I just told myself she was having a dream so that I could understand what was going on.
I remember seeing the preview and it seemed like it was some kind of time teleport thing going on where she was in modern day and then kept getting sent back to, or got sent to like slavery times, trying to figure out her way back to modern times. I was like, okay, this would be cool.
Yeah, and she was a feminist.
Okay. So
it was different.
Yeah.
The role fit Janelle very well. It was different, but it was a very good movie. I may need to watch it again, but I just couldn't understand in the beginning what was happening.
Yeah.
And then I saw her looking like us, and I was like, "You get them clothes from?"
Yeah. I was thinking about it because I was thinking about the shift just in general in terms of like slavery and stuff like that. Like, I feel like there's a huge push away from it. Like, there's some people who are like, we don't want to see movies and TV shows and stuff about slavery no more. We want to kind of just see other things. Like today, I found out that like a younger Martin Lawrence was supposed to be in a TV show that would have came out in the 80s. And it was about a black family, and they were like wizards. They're wizards, witches, stuff like that. Yeah, it was called a little bit strange. I think it's called. The family is called the Masters. That's their name. They're called the Masters. And yeah, each family member, the mom, dad, and the kids all had different little powers and stuff like that. But they never picked the show up. And there was this tweet that I saw, and it was like, I don't want to see more movies about slavery. I want to see, black vampires and witches and stuff like that. Like, people kind of don't want to just keep seeing the same stuff over and over.
And that's fair.
That's fair, but I feel like with us not knowing everything, I'm still open for more interpretations that tell people more about what went on back then. I just kind of want different stories. Like, one of my favorite slavery movies of recent memory, other than Django, is The Birth of a Nation, and it's a movie about Nat Turner and his rebellion and stuff like that. And I thought that was a really good movie because you're not really just watching black people get beat the whole 2 hours. You're watching.
I think that's the part that people don't want to see.
Yeah,
I feel like if they told different narratives, if they told the people's actual
stories,
glory,
yeah,
it wouldn't be so bad. But I do agree. Like, I'm tired of people getting whipped. Like, we've seen enough.
Yeah.
Don't need to see anymore.
That feels so uncomfortable for me just watching it, because a lot of times when I watch movies and TV shows, I take myself out of it because it's funny. Like, you see, like, think about superhero movies and they're doing poses and stuff like that. It's not like that when they're filming. It's just a guy in a suit, doing that. And with slavery movies, it's a guy in a costume. Personal. Yeah, and it's like, how you.
Because I'd be like,
okay with it? Yeah,
you wouldn't have beat me like that.
Yeah. I feel like I would have got a little bit mad, like, if I was actually filming. Like, nah, we can't do this. Like, we got to rewrite to something like this, because I don't understand.
Yeah, I couldn't play that role.
Yeah, go to. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not I feel abused watching.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I feel abused watching, and I'm just like, no, thank you, because I would have had to beat you up.
So it
Master.
works if you're trying to piss people off, like you're getting what you want, but we don't. I feel like we have too many stories just kind of telling the same story about slavery and stuff like that.
It's a different character getting beat.
Yeah, and then
but that's how it feels.
Or something. Yeah.
That's really how it feels, and I think that's the part that people don't want to see. Like it because it is redundant at this point.
Yeah,
we had enough of roots.
Yeah.
And people get mad because I tell them I don't want to watch Roots. I don't. I have no desire to. It's long.
Yeah.
There's too many.
Yeah.
And it's depressing.
Yeah. Real sad stuff. I've not seen the new one. I think I saw the old one a long time ago. I don't even know if I finished it or not.
That was like a series. And I appreciate Alex Haley for his work because, that was important for us to see and know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to watch it.
Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes stuff just needs to be watched once and you can't really go back to it. Like,
they made us watch it in middle school, and I was like, I don't know if this movie from middle school. I don't know. I don't want to see that. Yeah. I have no desire to see things like that. And then I think another part that was kind of upsetting for me is when, they were whipping him and telling him his American name, and he was telling them his native name was Kunta, and they're like, your name is Toby.
Yeah.
His name is Kunta, like his mama said.
Yeah.
And so, like, those things, I get offended by those things because still to this day, like, people asking me how to spell my name.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. And I'm sorry, I don't know if that's childish or petty of me, but that's nuts. And I'm just like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
But just the fact that that's still something that we have to deal with, like, my name is what it is. It's not hard. And if you tried hard enough, you knew your syllables and your vowels and your consonant sounds, you would know how to say my name.
Yeah.
And I try not to get ugly like that, but I don't like that because it's like that stems from slavery as well. You don't get to call me what you want to call me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how do you spell your name?
Like, what do you think?
Calling me, and I've started saying Jasmine like the flower.
Yeah.
Because what?
Yeah.
JASMINE. What? What do you mean?
Yeah.
And see that makes me get like defensive because I'm like, there's nothing less and nothing more for me to tell you
than that. I really had gotten tired of the whole.
I know they messed your name up.
Yeah, no, plenty of times. My name
De'Viar, De'Viar,
and don't even get started on the spelling. Like, people don't know there's an apostrophe there, and I don't use it all the time, just depending on what I'm writing or whatever I'm doing. But yeah, there's an apostrophe there, and some people don't, they'll forget about that or don't know that. And I don't know, I hate the whole like ghetto name like narrative. Like, people just it's a collection of letters. Like, you can't really make like what is a ghetto name.
Sometimes there's too many syllables, but this to each his own.
Yeah. I don't know,
but what I've learned is, like, since I've gotten older and I've looked, because I like names.
Yeah.
And so I look at the origins of a lot of stuff. A lot of the things that they tell us are ghetto names don't even come from where I think it comes from. I'm like, this is Irish.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess Irish people are ghetto.
Yeah.
And like different variations of names and stuff, and people just associated anything that's blackness with being ghetto. That kind of bothers me. But our names, that really gets under my skin, especially when my mom didn't get creative at all. All of us have common names. And I think for me, when people started seeing my name and my little brother's name wrong, I was like,
how? Yeah, like you're
Jasmine and Jeremy.
You're adding something to it, like
because now you're being funny.
How do you spell JER apostrophe? Like, why? Like, why you know? Like, it's Jeremy.
I just
spell JZ. No, JS.
Like, it gets, but it just. I think that people do it subconsciously. Like, they don't even know that they're doing it until we get offended.
Yeah,
and I'm like.
And then they're most so worried about.
I do?
Yeah, they're most so worried about you being offended. Why are you? I didn't mean it like that. Instead of taking a look at themselves for a second. Okay, why
don't
did
you
I
just
think
ask?
that? Yeah. Why did I ask if I'm still in the right way? Why not just assume that it's the
Because to be honest, like there's a lot of names that I cannot pronounce, and I tell everyone before I pronounce your name wrong, can you please tell me how to say your name, because I don't want you to feel like this is another person that is offending me.
Yeah.
And I tell people that, especially with the work that I do, I tell everybody, please tell me how to pronounce your name, because I don't want to call you the wrong name, because I know how it feels.
Yeah.
And it's like, for us to even have to give any disclosures like that, it's like, that's kind of messed up. Me being a Jasmine, I'm just like,
it's real messed up. It really don't make sense.
yeah. So yeah. So those movies, yeah, I can see why people don't want to see that, because for me, like, that took me on a whole rant just that they call him Toby when he said his name is Kunta. He said it clear as day.
Yeah.
And it's like those types of things are triggering for us because we're still going through those things.
Yeah.
We're not getting whipped.
Different variations of it.
Right. And we're not getting physically whipped, but then there are systems set into place that are whipping us, and we can't, have access to certain things. So I can totally understand. But like I said, if they focus more on these characters' glory, I feel like it would be better, because I don't feel like Kunta just had a bad day every day,
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I don't watch it. I don't think I watched Django. I tried, and as soon as it came on and I heard click, 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 click. No, because if it's a horse, it's going to be something. And I just don't, we're not going there. If I hear a horse clicking any type of way, I'm turning off. If it got anything to do with black people back in the day and I hear clicking of any type of hoof, I got to go. Because I'm triggered.
I'm going to push you for Django. You got to go back and watch Django. Only because Django is just like, he's a cowboy. Or I guess better yet, a bounty hunter. So after we get through the 20, 30 minutes of him actually being a slave, he's free, and the rest of the movie is him going after his wife, and his wife is Kerry Washington, and it's all sweet and stuff, and it's bloody. Yeah. It's bloody movie.
Turned them off within the first 3 minutes. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, click.
There's some funny parts too. I like Django.
Yeah, I think I got to the point to where I'm not the type of person that is desensitized, and so certain things I'm like,
don't want to see it.
No, bro. I'm like, y'all are nuts. Yeah. Like, there's something wrong with you. And I really take personal when people play certain roles. Like, if you're the aggressor, like, I still don't trust Michael Ealy because he dropped those babies out that window for Color Girls. And I'm like,
that was a movie I was going to bring up where I said I can't really rewatch it. I can't really rewatch it.
I don't trust him. Yeah. And I don't trust that dude from Why Did I Get Married, Mike. I don't trust them, and it's like I don't want to watch anything else you're in because I don't need you to disappoint me again. And I know that is childish, but I'm like, be like that, though. You play this one, because I think what bothers me is they become this one-way actor, and they always migrate to roles like that. And that is when I can't separate the actor from the movie.
Role. Or they play their role just too well.
Because something wrong with
you.
I saw a picture of Michael Ealy with his kids this week, and I said, call CPS. Because get the children away from him, because he's dangerous and he can't be trusted. And it's like, that's crazy. But even when, like, with LeVar Burton, the guy that played Kunta, I can't see him as anything else because you did that too well. Yeah. Seeley, it's forever Seeley. Like those types of, and that movie is horrible, by the way.
Color Purple?
Yeah. I was just like,
I haven't seen Color Purple in a long time either.
I watched it last week and I was just like, this is not okay. Like, it bothered me for the first time in my life. And I don't know if it's because I'm more aware of things being issues, but it really, like, it genuinely bothered me.
I bet. No, when I realized that movie was directed by Steven Spielberg, I was like,
I didn't know that until the credits came.
Yeah, I was like, Steven Spielberg directed The Color Purple. I was like, I didn't know that. Like, why is that a bigger deal for more people? I was like, I didn't know that. That's this really weird thing to me.
I saw his name and I had the same thought. I was like, now, Steven, what did you have to do with this?
Oh, that kills me.
It just, it's weird. Yeah. And I think another thing is when there are white people directing things like that, I'm like,
I really think that we should be the main force behind like our stories. Like it's okay to throw in a black character and do the best you can, to represent that character as a part of the ensemble, story you telling. But if you're doing a story that's like where the character isn't colorblind, where the story is based around that person being a person of color, that person, a person of that color should probably be the driving force behind that story. That goes for like Asian stories, Hispanic, Mexican stories, blacks, like all of that, Indian stories and American stories. I feel like a person of that descent should be the driving force behind it because they're going to be the best ones that can relate to it. And they'll be able to add a certain personal flair or just motivation to tell the story that the person who's got the paycheck won't be able to do. They're just not going to get it. Like how we were talking about earlier, just not going to get it.
Because Steven threw me off. I was just like, wow. Like, because I never knew that. I always assumed that Oprah directed that movie.
That's funny. When I was growing up, I thought Tyler Perry did. For as much as he referenced that movie and parodied in different plays and stuff like that, and Tyler Perry directed The Color Purple. Like, how's he able to just reference this movie so much?
He wasn't even around.
He's sitting there hoping they let him remake it. That's what he's trying to do.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Because their hair is going to be horrible.
The sets, everything.
Oh my God, I just could not imagine. I hope not ever. Please don't. Nobody give him any ideas.
No. Bring it back with deal. It's coming to Netflix.
Oh my God, I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, just black cinema. It needs to be black cinema. I really feel like a lot of a lot of things bother so many of us because, like you said, if it's our own people and we're telling the story, then it's different.
Yeah.
But when you are looking at the credits like I did and I saw Steven Spielberg, I was like, Steven, why were you on set? Not that you couldn't be there, but why were you on set? Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're telling, like you said, you're telling us how to be black. You're telling us how to play out something.
Or how we should feel or what the situation was like, and you don't really.
More tears, whoopee. Like, it's just, that's Oprah.
Yeah.
Look more pitiful. Like, I don't know. Like, my mental can't, I can't wrap my mind around that because I would be like, Steven.
Like, okay, just hold the camera and just help him figure out the shots. We gonna do it. Like, just stay over there. We got it.
Yeah, it's just, that's really wild to me. And I thought that I was tripping because when I seen his name, I did like the ghetto neck roll. I was like, Steven, what are you doing here?
From E.T.? What is he?
What you doing? But I think that those are the small aspects that people neglect. Yeah. And those are the things that are bothersome to all of us because it's like, I can't come on The Godfather or whatever and tell them how to be Italian.
Yeah.
I can't come on whatever. I don't even know really.
Just different. Yeah. And I think that right there.
I can't come on your set and tell you be more white.
Yeah.
That sounds really bad.
Yeah. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Define that for me. Okay, yeah, I can do that, but tell me what you want me to do. Like, what does that look like for
It's
you?
really crazy. It's really, it's bothersome, to say the least.
That's the good and bad thing about art. And we talked about that thing a little bit when Jordan came on. I was like, it's subjective. Like, somebody can watch it and love it and think it's the best thing ever, and somebody right next to them can watch it and hate it and think it's the worst thing ever.
People love The Color Purple.
Yeah.
I don't like anything about Sugar Avery saying, I was married now. I was like, and I know that was the language of the time, but that's not funny to me. Yeah. And see,
especially
people,
if you're gonna play it for laughs,
right? And people laugh at the language, and because in our own people, like, they laugh at the language and things like that,
and take it in so much, and they start repeating it and using it, and people start thinking it's okay and using it towards you and stuff like that. And it's like, no, like, I don't know who you were around that you thought that was cool, but do that around them. Like, it's not.
Right.
That's another thing. You thinking this everybody does it just because of certain
And I think it's the
group
ignorance too of not knowing that it's wrong to mock them. Yeah. And they didn't know any better. Yeah. Cause I'm just like, this is like, I really was like, this is nuts. Yeah. Like, just that movie is horrible. That movie is horrible because I was just like, it never dawned on me that when those girls were with Mr., as they call him, they were young girls and he was grooming them or having sex with them or whatever. And then one day she woke up an adult in the bed with him, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
like
yeah. How we get here?
why? But he had been, you know, he tried to rape her sister, and she was trying to go to school, and he was trying to rape her. Like,
Yeah.
these are, and I never, like, I just never
Just
paid
process it.
attention.
Yeah. What
Because
really
I'm
was
just,
going on.
because people always like, I love Color Purple. That movie funny. That movie is not funny.
Yeah.
It's disturbing.
It's really a horror story. Like,
Yeah,
I just
like,
kind of missed the memo.
And I'm just like, am I thinking too much into it? But I'm like, no, like, this man was sleeping with these young girls, although it was quote unquote acceptable then. It's not okay. And I don't want to, like, I was like,
Yeah. I want to romanticize this.
yeah, yes, and
Make it
it's nothing
entertainment,
funny.
yeah.
And let me stop giving you views, because this is not okay. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's very sad, because that was the reality for
A lot of people.
a lot, yes, especially young Black girls back then, because if they weren't being, you know, violated by a master, then they still had to worry about that same violation in their
Somewhere
homes.
else, yeah.
And it's just like, I was just mind blown. I was like, it never dawned on me, because I guess I wasn't paying attention. Because when you're younger, you see things and you don't see them.
Yeah.
But like I said, with age, you understand things better. And I'm like,
Way
this man
better.
is a creep.
And that trickles into today. There's still Black women and women in general that speak out on things, and people just don't listen. Like, Terry Song was trending the other day because another person that came out and said that he sexually harassed her, and people have been ever since more and more people have come out and said that about Trey Songz. People are like, but Keke Palmer said it first. Like, why didn't y'all listen to Keke Palmer when she first said it
And
way
Megan Thee
back?
Stallion.
Yeah, like way back in the gap. Why didn't y'all listen to her? So it's just like, it just trickles. Like,
I remember seeing the video of when he made Megan uncomfortable. He was trying to force her to drink alcohol, and she was like, "No, I'm good." And he was just like,
drink,
like, "Sir, if you don't sit down," like, she should have kicked him. She had every right to. And it's like, I heard Keke. That was yesterday. I was watching a video when they said she didn't believe the R. Kelly accusations at first, because he was like her mentor.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the Trey Songz situation happened that she started taking it seriously, what people were saying about R. Kelly. And she was like, I have to stand with my sisters because this happened to me. But she was just saying something happened. They were somehow together, party or something like that. And she felt so uncomfortable. She went and hid in the closet, and Trey opened the closet and was laughing at her.
That's weird.
And I'm like, yeah,
it's weird.
You need to be in jail, sir.
Yeah.
Probably jail, probably prison, because we don't know what you've done. But you at least need to be booked if you've violated this much.
Yeah.
And she didn't say that anything like just happened to where she was actually like touched or anything, but she said that she was like sexually harassed, and he was laughing about it. And I'm like, that's not funny.
No,
it's nothing funny about that.
Especially for his side, he claiming to be her friend and stuff like that. Like,
right.
You're not gonna do that.
And that's what she said. I thought that was my friend.
Yeah.
And that's really the part that's
the sickest
not.
part about it. Yeah. Somebody supposed to help back you up and almost protect you in situations. Not even almost, protect you in situations.
And you
like
being
that.
a creep.
Yeah. Along with the dude that did it. Like,
and I saw another girl, that girl that was on Twitter. Is that who you talking about? She like made a tweet.
Yeah.
And she was talking about him. I saw her
yeah.
like last week. And I showed my boyfriend, and I was like, here's another one.
Yeah. Coming out about, yeah.
And I was like, they're not lying.
Oh, yeah,
everybody's not lying on him.
Or she was like, I can't hold it no longer, or stuff like that. Yeah. I can't remember who it was, but yeah.
Yeah. These people, back to people with power and money, they think they can do whatever they want to do, and people just have to accept it.
Yeah.
It's just,
that's on the other side who can't get away with doing whatever we want to do. We're going to have to.
Life sentences
really,
forever.
Literally, we're going to have to try to come together as fast as possible and figure out something. I downloaded TikTok this week finally downloaded TikTok this week. And I was going through the comments on one of the videos because I didn't feel on like Black TikTok and like conspiracy TikTok and like, like dry humor, like people getting hurt and stuff like that. I'm on that side of TikTok. And on one of the videos that I watched, they were talking about just like the way that society is and stuff like that. And one of the things that the guy said in the video reminded me of something that we were talking about earlier. But he was just like, people can live a whole life that you know nothing about. And that blows my mind to me. And I don't know. This kept the point of the video. He just mentioned that, but the point of the video was just like how fake and messed up everything is. Like he's like, you can't go outside and get food off a tree. You got to buy it. You know, water. If you go find water out in nature, it's not clean. And clean water, you got to buy it. Like everything is set up to.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's a weird. Like who decided that? Like who? Yeah, y'all. We're gonna get
Creeps.
the fruits of the labors from the land by paying for it. We're gonna have a whole system, rich and poor system set up. And somebody in the comments was like, okay, so when are we gonna play into like the rebellion? Like when are we just gonna stop paying taxes, stop working, stop doing everything that
Because everybody stops. What can they do?
You can't punish everybody. It's like you can't. So when are we gonna do? Like we're all on social media and stuff. You can meet somebody that lives in California right now, and in 2 weeks y'all could actually see each other face to face. Like when are we gonna do it? Like I'm down. Like like somebody playing it, and I'm down. I remember when people were talking about raiding Area 51, and that killed me. I was like, I feel like people gonna do it too. I feel like people really gonna show up.
Die.
Yeah, they definitely were, but that was gonna be a small enough group to where they feel like they could take them out and be okay, or at least take out some of them, and everybody ran back, and then little casualties or whatever. But yeah, that's my mindset right now. Like when are we gonna really put our foot down and just say no? Because if there's a nice abundance of us understanding that this isn't right, and a lot of stuff that's going on isn't right, when are we actually gonna do something about it and get it fixed? I'll never forget that story about that lady in Israel, I think it was, and how when everything was going on in their country and stuff like that, she said that everybody in like her city had just started walking. Like they just stopped what they were doing, stopped going to work, stopped all that stuff, and just started walking. And eventually so many people joined and were just walking down streets that trucks weren't able to deliver stuff and people weren't going to work. And basically they just shut down the government in a way. Like, hey, we're just walking. Like, we're not doing nothing that you want of us until y'all fix these issues we have. And they got the results they wanted. So, whenever America ready, we can get this stuff started.
Yeah, I was looking for this quote. I don't know if you watched the miniseries on Netflix called Behind Her Eyes.
I don't think so.
But you need to.
Okay.
It's
okay.
Like,
what is it about?
About astral projection.
Okay.
So basically, him
leaving the body and stuff like that.
Yes, but it was kind of twisted a little bit, and I was just like,
yeah,
okay. But one of the characters, he was married to like the main character, and he knew something was wrong with her, but he couldn't really put his finger on it. And he asked a lady that he had an affair with because she was driving like she was nuts. He asked her, how do you know if you know everything about a person? Like you were saying, people could live these different lives, you don't know that. And she told him, you'll never know. She said, you can never know everything about a person. You go mad trying to.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
that's true. That's really true.
These people, because literally, like, she wasn't living a double life, but she had a soul that wasn't hers inside of her. And he knew, but he didn't know that he knew. But he
knew just something was up.
Yeah, because he said looking in her eyes wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me, like, when you said that, I was like, that movie, whatever, miniseries.
Yeah.
It was more like a movie to me. But that was really crazy because it kind of put a lot of stuff into perspective. So basically, the guy that was stealing bodies, he was a junkie. He didn't have money. And he met this girl in rehab who was rich and all of this stuff. And he wanted her life. And like you said, like being on the outside looking in, he's looking at her life and he's like, I want that. I'm never going to lose that. So he did whatever it took to keep the man that he thought provided that life.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. And I'm just like, people are really like, people do this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is when you said, you never truly, because you don't. Because he was trying to figure out like where these habits coming from, because the lady was a nice, sweet lady, but he took who he was, like who you are at the core is what's going to stick.
Yeah. So
even though he was switching bodies, he took his personality, who he was at the very core of him. It kept transferring to different people. Like, you're mean and ugly, you're a prick, and you doing heroin.
Yeah.
And so like he was trying to figure out like, where'd you get these habits from?
Yeah.
And why are you so evil and mean, thinking that she just lost her mind? But it's like,
a little more to it.
And now I think that people be doing it for real. Because I'm like, did you get your body stolen?
Yeah.
But it just made me think of that because I was like really like trying to watch those episodes and think about how we are as people and how people, like we said, you don't understand and you think something is good, but you get there and you're unhappy with it. Or you get there and you try to make sense of something that you can't relate to because that's not your walk of life. And that's not.
No, you're not supposed to.
He took over a black woman's body and was like, oh, I got to get used to this voice.
Like, what does that mean?
And I was like, sir,
it's a voice.
Well, you should have stayed on your side of the fence. You know, and he was just, it was just crazy. But I was going to bring it up when we were talking about how, you know, people try to say, I understand.
Yeah.
You just stole the whole body and you still don't get it.
Yeah.
You still don't get it. And it's like that, if that's I don't know, if Area 51 exists, like, I don't know what exists. But if that's a thing that can happen, it's like, you know, stop trying to make sense of something that's not meant for you to make sense of. It was never made for you to be rich and pretty, and it was never made for you to be a black woman.
Yeah.
First and foremost, you're a man who's lived as a man, so you trying to transfer to things that are not your anatomy that you've never experienced and you don't aspire to experience outside of the life that they have, not the bodies.
Yeah.
You should stay in your body. And it's crazy. You need to watch it. It was so crazy.
Is it Behind Her Eyes?
Yes, Behind Her Eyes. It kind of creeped me out a little bit. I knew something was wrong because she kept like being twitchy and like I was like,
what's up with this girl?
Something wrong with you.
Yeah.
I found a quote from Antebellum too. I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. And she said, you know, I learned very quickly that black people, black women in particular, we're expected to be seen and not heard. Goes back to our laughter. Or we risk being perceived as threatening to the patriarchy, or God forbid we continue to get branded as the angry black woman. So the coping persona has been this mode of survival for generations of oppressed people. What I also learned through those experiences, within our authenticity lies our real power. And that's even in those environments which by design demand our complete and total assimilation. And that's why I said, like, you have to go back and watch that movie too, because it was confusing.
Yeah.
But like, that's one thing that I took from that movie, because I was like, dang, it's kind of true. And so when you brought up us dispersing as we laugh, I was like, dang, like,
what else could have got past that?
Right. Like, and that movie really made me think, because I think that it was a back and forth between her being Veronica, I think she was like a CEO or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Antebellum the slave. I was like, I have to get it.
Yeah.
And I have to understand what's going on and what's being said. But I really feel like that quote put a lot into perspective for me, because we are supposed to be seen and not heard, and we are thought to have to assimilate to everything around us. But like we were talking about with Jordan, like, our authenticity is what makes us stand out and what makes us visible. And so it's like these movies, they're movies, but you have to they're not for just entertainment. Like I said, like, I've really been like paying attention to what I'm watching. Yeah. And getting the message, because
trying to really figure out
the color purple has to get off my TV forever. Yeah. But like, things that I can take lessons from and understanding what's going on in those movies or those TV shows, like, how do we apply that to real life? Because there's a lesson in everything, and I think that's the end all be all. Like, there's always a lesson in whatever we're watching. As crazy and funny as it may seem, if you sit there and you pay attention, you'll get the message. Yeah.
Even if the message is something stupid or something just simple, right? Like, enjoy life or whatever. Like, it's in there somewhere. We hit an hour. I didn't even know we were.
Yeah, we just been talking.
Yeah. I went from about the candidates and stuff over to movies and stuff a little bit. Then got a little real world-ish. Nice little talking episode. You got anything else?
No, that's all.
Right,
I can
cool.
sit here and talk all day. I'm talking about this.
All right, then. As always, I'm De'Viar.
And I am Jasmine.
You can follow us at Stories of the Streets _ on Instagram. And you can email us at storiesoftha streets@gmail.com if you're interested in coming on the show.
And thank y'all for listening.
Yeah.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.